Right, they can see their
It's not time.
great demise.
Their great demise?
Yeah.
Well, keep the people entertained then, Devin.
Them entertain. Well,
Wow, man. I put you on the
if
spot. And you got
you watched the Halo 3 that I was playing last night, it was just getting destroyed. It's, so we went with like 5 games of, just social, whatever, and then we went like Halo 3 ranked, and I was playing with me and Old Man Fear and Fear's Vengeance, or Master Valhurst, whatever his name. He keeps changing his gamer tag. um, but the first game we got destroyed like 11-50, just trash.
I thought you were supposed to be good at that game.
Halo 3 is not my jam. Like, that's my least favorite Halo, even above Halo Reach. So, but
You like Halo Reach more than Halo 3?
yeah, I'll take that multiplayer over Halo 3's multiplayer. But yeah, no, it was really rough. And then I was like, let's do Halo 3 ranked hardcore, and that was even worse. So then after that, we went to Halo 5, and it was much better. we won all of our games in Halo 5. Yeah, it was a rough night of old Halo, and we played Halo 1, and that was fine. We won that game. Phaedron gave me a bunch of crap during the stream. But
like he does.
Yeah, well, that's what he's supposed to do, right? But yeah, no, it was rough. But I was like, man, these old Halo games are not. I like the new. I've moved on from the older Halo game, but it's okay. It's fun to go back and play the campaigns. Just the multiplayer can be rough. I mean, especially like their ranked is not very good. Skill based matchmaking. Like we were playing against, so they have the seasonal ranks, and we were like all bronze like the very beginning, and the people were getting matched up with like golds and platinums. They've been playing. That's all they've been playing is like Halo: The Master Chief Collection. So it was a rough game or two.
Cool. Devin, can you like tilt your camera just like a tiny bit?
Which direction?
Down, so you're not at the bottom of the screen.
Why, you don't like me down here?
I mean, it's up to you. Like, if you want to stay there, that's cool. Everyone else is. All right, I'm gonna start this. You just be you, and I will start this show. You be difficult, Devin. Okay.
Now I gotta fix my chair.
Rusted, what's going on? Thanks for hanging out. Will you control Devin, please, Rusted? He seems to be like in one of those weird moods.
I gotta watch this later.
All right, here we go. And the count of 3, 3, 2.
You are listening to the Freelancer Codex, a podcast brought to you by the Shut Up and Respawn Network.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 131 of the Freelancer Codex podcast, the longest running some podcast out there, something. I'm your host, Steve, along with my two co-hosts. We've got Mike and we've got Devin with us, and we have a special guest joining us today for episode 131. We have Rick Tone with us. Rick, thank you. I guess Rick, I shouldn't call you Rick for short, because that doesn't make sense.
You can.
But, okay, I will call you Rick for short.
Yeah. Anything.
So thanks for joining us. We've been connected on Twitter for a really long time, since you've been a follower of our show, and I've been listening to the stuff that you've been putting out, and you are a huge proponent of Stadia.
Yep, Stadia.
And the three of us have very little experience with it. The S
Right,
word?
right.
It's not a bad word, though, I hope.
No. Once you know it, no. After this podcast, it'll be great.
Very cool. So we figured we'd bring someone on that actually knows what they're talking about. Stadia did a Stadia Connect earlier this week, and we wanted to have someone with a little bit more expertise on the show to talk about it, to kind of educate us a little bit, and we promise not to like try to slam Stadia too hard, right?
No. Nope. I'll take it. Let's go. Don't hold any punches.
All right. So we really appreciate you joining us and hanging out with us. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. So,
right. Yep.
So at the top of the show, first of all, to all of our listeners out there, if you want to write into the show, of course, you can always do that at freelancercodex@gmail.com. Shoot us an email if you have questions, comments, concerns. Do that there, and we would love to have your email read on the show. And we would love to thank our patrons. We always like to thank Julius, Nathan B, Michael R, Trent B, Man in Still, Scout69, Dragonheart76, Jeffrey H, and the Gameplay Experience. We really appreciate your support. It helps pay the bills. So we really appreciate that. If you would also like to help support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/freelancercodex. But right now, there are probably more important things you can do with your money. So do not support us if it puts you into any type of hardship. But if you can afford it, hey, afford it. Well, I don't want people to go into debt or anything. That would just be rude.
This is how you support us, but please don't support us right now.
You know, I've never been real good at promoting the show. Like, why change now after 100?
We're not
Tell you what,
into pressuring
if you like
people.
what you hear, then promote us, and we will take it, and we will love it. And you know what? That's it. We appreciate you.
I mean, and if
See how
you
easy that
can,
was?
if you
you just say it. You don't
okay,
say
you're a
but
bit-
don't do it.
You're a better hype man. If you can't afford to do it, then you can support us by retweeting or sharing the show or loading it onto all your family's phones without them knowing, and we'll still get the downloads, and that'll help also. So do it that way. Also, this Monday we have an interview going up. Mike and I were able to sit down with Fernando Mello of Double Blick Games. Fernando is a developer working on several games, but the game we talked to him most about was a game called Game Director Story. And that's a game where you play a game director and you're trying to get a game made with a team, and you're trying to manage crunch, manage producers, and manage all the fun stuff that happens when you're developing a game. So it's a fun game. You can actually get that demo on Steam right now. I think you can still get the demo, or it might have been pulled down for a little bit longer, because it was part of the Steam Summer Game Demo Extravaganza, where they had like 900 different game demos on there. So that interview will go live on Monday. I think we had a good time, Mike. We had a good time, right?
It was a good interview.
Fernando.
Fernando's a pretty chill guy. It was really cool to hear him talk about the impetus of the game that they're developing and why he did it, and just kind of the things that go on behind the scenes, and kind of it's definitely a different game, a different type that we're used to here on the show. We usually go FPS and things like that, but this one is definitely different. I think it might be one that could be very needed at this point, because it really focused a lot on how to treat people, and maybe even a little bit of introspection, how you kind of treat yourself, and the things that you are the things that you really believe, and the things that you are willing to do. So I think it's good. I think it might be a good time for everybody to kind of look inside and see how they decide to treat people, and see how people decide to treat them, and how they treat themselves. So definitely check it out, by Double Blick Games, Game Directory Story. Check it out on Steam, and
Yeah. And Fernando's a veteran of the industry. He's been in the industry for more than 20 years. He worked at BioWare for 12 of those years, working on Dragon Age mostly. Touched Mass Effect here and there. Show me on the doll where you touch Mass Effect. But yeah, so it was a really good interview. All right, so let's go ahead and start into what we've been playing. And Rick, I would like to know what you've been up to gaming wise. All the stuff that you've been doing, what you've been playing, or anything else you want to talk about.
Okay, cool. I've been back in Destiny 2, honestly. I guess the whole season pass model that they've been doing, I guess that's kind of brought me back in. So I'm like, I don't want to miss out. But this is kind of before the delay. I don't want to jump to that news, but I was like, oh man, let me get this done before September. But if I knew that, I wouldn't have been grinding so hard. But because I do have a backlog of games. People say that's one of the things people say. There's not a lot of games on Stadia, but honestly, I have a backlog right now. So I've been playing Destiny 2. I've been finishing up Borderlands 3. What else? And Red Dead Redemption 2. I've been in that knee deep. It's like I love to just escape sometime. I just feel like I'm in the wild, wild west. But yeah, I would say those 3 games. That's what I've been playing.
Well, that's cool. Red Dead is that's a long game. That's hundreds and hundreds of hours you got to dump into that game to play. So very cool. It's always nice to tackle your backlog. So, so we'd like to say hey to KDT and SJ in the chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. So Devin, I know you've been doing a lot of stuff. You were telling us just recently how bad you were doing at Halo 3. So what have you been up to gaming wise?
Gaming wise, so I streaming. I just do Battlefield on Monday, so I've been playing that. That was a lot of fun. And they just put out a new, Halo 3 just came to PC, so I was playing that. Got worked pretty good, but
is the player pool mixed now? So if you're
no, it's not
Xbox, you're
crossplay
playing against people. Okay, so it's not.
No.
So you weren't getting destroyed by people on keyboard and mouse.
No, I was getting destroyed by people who play the Master Chief Collection on Xbox exclusively based on their rank and everything else was, yeah. So I mean, and it's something that I've talked about before with my friends and stuff. We play swapping back from all the different Halos. Because when you we turned them all on, and so it just moves you throughout the different ones. It is really hard when the buttons are different for every Halo, but you can go in there and change it and set it up. I just haven't been bothered to do that, because usually I just select that one Halo and only search in there, and then that's it. But so that was definitely rough, and it was even rough going back to Halo 5 after that because I was all messed up on which button does what, but. That was a little rough, but it's still fun. I've been playing Rocket Arena with my kids. So
you have been playing Rocket Arena?
Yeah, because I have Origin Access Premier, so I got that part of the subscription, and he, my middle son loves playing it. He always wants, so having a good time.
So I have watched nothing about Rocket Arena. So can you give us a quick overview?
Yeah, so I mean it's basically a hero shooter. They have 10 shooters. Or heroes, right? They have different skills, but they're all shooting rockets. The big difference is you're not trying to kill the person, but it's kind of like, Smash Brothers or different fighting games where the more you hit them, the more damage they take, and then eventually they get knocked out.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so on their meter, like when you're hitting them with rockets and stuff, as it builds up, no matter where they are, so you can save yourself sometimes when you get knocked off the map. You can rocket jump and different things as you're playing. But when you reach that max level, it automatically KOs you, knocks you out. The one he really likes playing is where you're capturing like a mega bomb or whatever. And it's basically like King of the Hill. You have to hold a spot in the middle, and it's all contested. And then when you hold it for long enough, you get a mega bomb, and it's like first to 5 win. So he enjoys doing that, and it is crossplay, but I haven't purchased it on any consoles yet because I don't need to purchase it. You can just play it on there. He's just playing it on a computer, but I'm sure I'm gonna have to purchase it on probably both my Xbox, because all my kids want to play it. And that'll be fun for the other team when they get to go up against 3 kids and just work them over.
Or your kids will just get really, really good at the game and work other people.
I don't know. It's like my son. He likes to play. He wakes up early, my youngest, and plays Sea of Thieves, but he's playing Arena. And then some days he's like, I can't play anymore. Why won't he let me play? Because he'll like quit out, on just people like all the time. He just quits out. It's like you have to stop quitting, so you get banned. You can't play. So now he's staying in there all the time. And I try and tell him, you can't drive the boat. All you do is fix stuff, bail water, and try and fight people, right? And so, because he'll just take the steering, the helm, and ram us right into an island or to another boat. You're like, what the crap just happened?
But that's what kids are supposed to do, right?
Yeah, no, they love that stuff, and it's hard staying frustrated with them when they're having a good time, and I'm just like, okay, they're having a good time. This is not like, it's just my competitive nature. Like, I do not like to lose at stuff, and then so I'm like,
really?
Why are you doing this? Why are you being this way? And so I just have to be like, I can play one game with you, and then I can't play with you.
And that's it. And then I'm done.
Yeah.
SJ in the chat wants to know if you think that Rocket Arena or Rocket Race, whatever it's called, do you think it's worth $40?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely fun. I mean, if you have EA access, you can get it for cheaper. It's $30 on Xbox. So if you have EA access on Xbox, it's like $27. You get that 10%. I was looking on Xbox to see if they had like a little trial, but they didn't. So that's why I just didn't let them play it on computer. But
isn't it coming to GamePass?
No, it was on EA. It's on their stuff because it's published by. I mean, if it does, it's definitely worth it. I mean, it's a lot of fun. they have multiple modes, and they're continuing to add modes, and they do updates almost on a daily basis right now because they're getting a lot of feedback and everything else from their players and community. And I mean, it's been fun what I've played. It's definitely different in the fact that you're knocking people out and fast paced and you can choose. I don't really like hero based shooters because I prefer to like pick up weapons on the map and everybody has the same opportunity, and his abilities really frustrate me. Yeah. And that's why I hate Spartan abilities like ground pound. I mean, I deal with them. I digress.
So Mike, what have you been up to since Devin's been up to a lot? What have you been doing?
So as everyone knows, I've kind of been at a loss for stuff to jump into just because of timing and things. So I actually, instead of trying to find something new, I went back to Minecraft Dungeons. I had beaten the first stage, I guess. So that when you beat it on adventurer mode, everything opens up into, I forget what the mode above it is called, hardness one. I don't know. It's got a weird. It's leveled, right? Kind of like Diablo was, Diablo 3. And so you just go through and you start playing everything again, and you start, chasing those higher numbers, gear with bigger, better stats, and trying to find those builds that work. And you go through the same levels, but it's okay. It's different because it's harder. There's been DLC that has opened up, which has been fun that we've been playing.
The new jungle expansion, is that what it's called?
The jungle expansion is open. And then the winter expansion is coming soon. So and it's been fun. Like it's not terrible. The boys and we get to still grab hold of Minecraft that they love, and they love creating, and they love going through that world and building houses and things. And so this is just a more kind of focused, right? Let's go defeat some bad guys and get some loot and shoot the chickens and all that kind of stuff that you get to do. So it's not terrible. It's fun. It's low key enough to where it doesn't take up a whole lot of the day. You can go and run a dungeon. Although some of the dungeons can get pretty long, 20, 25 minutes kind of thing, which seems kind of long when you're, have just a few minutes before dinner that you're able to play. So
and you're playing with 8-year-olds.
You're playing with
8-year-olds.
And they just So using those abilities, helping them pick the right abilities, and putting them in the right slots, and making sure they heal at the right time, and making sure they have a healing totem also. It's just fun starting those kind of dungeon crawlers kind of things that kind of help them learn how to min-max stats. So Minecraft Dungeons, that's what we've been doing.
Very cool, very cool. So real quick, so we can get into the news, I will just talk about a couple things that I've been doing. So I finished the Titanfall 2 campaign. That campaign is super short. It's only about 5 hours. Recently, it was on sale for $8 on Steam. So that was like a no-brainer. Titanfall 2 is like it is probably one of the best campaigns that I have played in a really, really long time. And that's probably because it did not overstay its welcome. It didn't try to do more than it set out to do. And they're like the set pieces that Respawn made for Titanfall 2 are amazing. Like I was always a fan of Titanfall 2 just because of the Titans. And calling down a Titan is like one of the coolest things you can ever do. And like anytime they're like prepare for Titanfall, it's cool. Their robots are cool. Their multiplayer is like a little bit too fast for me. But yeah, like the campaign is awesome. I recommend anyone that has not played the Titanfall 2 single player campaign to next time it's on sale, or whenever it's on sale, or you might even have it through one of the, it was probably given away for free at some point. Like go play the Titanfall 2 campaign. It has one of the coolest level designs. It's only like the 3rd level, so it's really quick. And the BT is voiced by Optimus Prime, so it's really hard to pass up on that. Like the voice acting is really good. Matt Mercer is the main character. Like I think his voice acting is probably the weakest part of the game. It's very flat. It's probably just the way that he was directed, because Matt Mercer does a lot of really good voices. But yeah, the campaign was amazing. Like had a lot of fun doing that. Got to do it on stream, super short, so I recommend that to anybody. And then I don't know if you all have heard about this. There was like the Devolver Digital showcase that they did a while ago. I think it was on Sunday. They actually put out like a game on Steam where you go through the conference center, and you kind of see like a bunch of different of their booths and stuff that would have been set up for E3 if it was actually there. So this was actually it's pretty interesting. It's first person. You go through, you solve a couple puzzles, you find a couple of the like booths that they have. They're showing off their carry-on game and the other games that they have there. Um, I was playing it on my PC, and it's really interesting that it does not let you invert the controls on controller.
Blah.
So I was unable to play it with my controller. So I played it on with keyboard and mouse, and I actually ended up getting motion sick because there are a lot of different screens in the game, and they're all moving, and it actually made me motion sick. I don't know if I'm just like getting weak in my old age that I can't handle playing games anymore,
It's true.
but I got motion sick, so I had to stop. But it's like it's a super interesting marketing thing, like to just like make a game and say, hey, here's this. So that was kind of interesting. Then I played a game called West of Dead. West of Dead, like the best way to describe it is if Hades and Dead Cells had a baby in the Old West, that would be West of Dead. So it's a rogue-like shooter, a twin stick shooter where that you go through and you dungeon crawl, you die, you go back to the beginning, you go in, you collect souls, you level your guy up so that you can get farther and farther into the dungeon crawl. It's a really interesting game. The main character is voiced by Ron Perlman, which is kind of interesting. And like the art style is it's cell shaded. It's got that isometric view. It's very dark though. Sometimes like when where there's cliffs, it's all blacked out and a lot of the levels blacked out. So sometimes you end up rolling off cliffs accidentally just because it looks like the different level, the same as the other level. It's actually a really fun game. It's really quick. I think it's actually available on Game Pass right now. I don't know if it's available. No, I think it's available on PC and on console. But that's a pretty fun game. So if you have Game Pass, go check it out. We put some video up if you want to see how it plays. We just have some gameplay of it, no commentary that you can go watch and see if that game is interesting to you at all. So that's West of Dead. That's Devolver. I played a bunch of other demos on stream, but we don't have to talk about those. We can talk about those later. So, all right, I think we need to get into the news because we have a lot of Stadia stuff to talk about that Rick is going to tell us about. But first, we need Keanu to introduce the news.
All right. I gotta talk to you about something.
I love this part.
All right, Rick. So this Sunday, Stadia. It was Sunday, right? They had the. Was it Sunday or Monday?
No,
I forget what day
it was
it was.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm way off. So it was Tuesday.
Way back.
Samsonite.
Yeah, and Stadia had their Stadia Connect. Would you like to walk us through what was shown, what things we should be excited about, and just kind of give us like your overall take on, I don't want to say sell us on Stadia, but just kind of tell us why you are excited about Stadia.
Okay, so I'll touch on the Connect, I guess, real quick. So the Connect, it was basically 15 games that they introduced. There was a lady at the beginning. She kind of introduced Stadia, that it's free. That's one of the misnomers. People probably think like there's a paywall. There is no paywall. It's absolutely free. What makes it a console is kind of a hybrid where you can use your browser, but where it's a console is if you integrate with the Chromecast Ultra, and they have a proprietary controller. So that's the only way it's really a console, because technically you never even have to use that. You can just use it through the Chrome browser, or you could use it on your phone, and it's open to any phone. There's like about 30 phones that are really officially supported, but you can go through another tab through the menus that you can open up to use any phone, except iOS devices right now. I know that's a big bummer, but I think that has more to do with Apple, because Stadia has a store, so they don't like other stores in their store. So
No, Apple definitely likes to get their cut.
Yeah, Apple, they dominate that. So, but other than that, you can pretty much play it anywhere. But with the Connect, it was they introduced Orcs Must Die 3, and that came out that day. That's a great thing about Stadia, that once it's released, you just play it, no downloads, no patches, nothing. So people were playing that while it was going on. Outcasters, that's a game from I think it's a studio working with Google. It's kind of like it's like a kiddie game. It looks like pinball, honestly, almost. Not my type of game, but I guess for casual audience or kids, it'd be great. Super Bomberman R, I think that's already out. I never played that though.
And they actually spent a lot of time on their conference going over Super Bomberman R.
Yeah, I mean, it's not my forte, but I know there is a good following for that. And the thing with that Stadia related, it's up to 64 players. So that's going to be interesting. I mean, anything can
Yeah, so
happen there. Bombs and
yeah,
64 people.
and I did think it was interesting because like I assumed when I was watching that when they said it would be 64 players, it'd be 64 players all at the same time. But it kind of goes like, hey, there's this number of people on this map, and then you kind of see all the other people playing
Right.
off to the
Playing.
side. And the people that end up like winning that round, they'll get like swapped over to people and they'll be hooked up that way. So I did think it would be interesting to see like, hey, what would happen if you had 64 people placing bombs? But it's kind of a different game, so a
Right,
little
right.
bit different than that.
Right. So I mean that's one of them. One hand clapping, that's in early access. That's actually a game that uses your voice. I've seen that on stream. It's pretty amazing. You can make low notes or high notes. That's I mean you got to be brave to stream that because people are gonna hear like your notes. But that's
Yeah.
one. 2K21. That's gonna be NBA 2K21. That's a day and date game. That's a big thing too with Stadia. Sometimes we get games later on, be the new platform. So when you hear that a lot in the community, like day and date, people they hang their hat on that, being able to say it's coming out at the same time, which is a good
Right.
strategy. You want to be taken seriously if you're trying to make games in 2020. Dead by Daylight. Um, I think I played that before. You know, zombie type games. PUBG Season 8. They kind of touched on that. PUBG is already on the platform, but that's on there. Hitman 1 and 2 is coming out later this year, and then Hitman 3 in 2021. That's one of my titles. I didn't expect that. That wasn't leaked at all. A lot of stuff was leaked. That's why the Connect could have been better, but a lot of things were leaked. I don't know. Maybe Google's they're new to that in terms of the gaming market, not like mobile gaming, but like obviously consoles. So a lot of stuff were leaked. So it kind of soured some things. But they talked about Serious Sam 4, but we knew that was coming out. Outriders is a big one. I heard that's like people are saying that's like maybe Destiny and Anthem. There's a lot of things. I need to research more about that, but that looks super cool.
Yeah,
4 players, I'm down for that.
I think Outriders is probably one of the bigger like titles that has me interested.
Yeah.
But and like that's a good get for Stadia because with the
Hmm.
ability for so many people to play without having to buy a console, that's kind of like they need to promote things like that more because Outriders is going to be like a four-person co-op game if you have those people. Like you can play it solo, three people.
Right.
Sorry, I always forget that like all these companies want to do like this three-person thing, and it's just like, why is it not four? I don't understand why it's not four. So that's going to be one of those
I blame
games that I think
Bungie.
is going to be, yeah, it is Bungie's fault, honestly. So that's going to be.
Yeah.
I know we can blame Blizzard back. Let's go way back to like Lost
To the
Vikings
way
back in the
back.
day. Yeah, let's go way back there. So Outriders is going to be really big for Stadia.
Yeah, can't
But
wait.
that one's not day
And
and date though, right? Because that one comes out this year for current and next gen consoles.
Outriders,
Comes out
I
next
th-
year on Stadia, right?
I think they're pushing it next year with the newer consoles. So I think there's a big thing in the Stadia community right now of Gen 2, and that's referring to the blades, like the server blades.
Mhm.
They've talked about that. It's not so much of a secret. They said that the server blades are there, but they haven't officially said it when it's going to come out. But a lot of these games, like something like Outriders, you could run at 120 frames per second because right now Stadia overall, I would 90% of the games are 60 FPS, 1080p or 4K. Sometimes upscale, sometimes it's true 4K. But for the most part, I mean that's definitely better than consoles right now. Unless you got like a X, that's the only thing that rivals it. Stadia, like
Yeah.
just in general.
I was gonna
But
ask you, so because you use
yep,
Stadia quite a bit, how much
yep.
data do you go through when you're using Stadia?
Um, how much data?
Or
Well,
does it?
I
I
have
don't know if it
uncapped.
matters in your area, so you're uncapped.
Mine is uncapped, but no, data does matter for some people. But for the most part, if it does, you can go down to 720p. You can change that option because I know there's people that do 720p but keep on HDR, and they say that looks really good. But I don't even have a 4K. I just do 60 FPS, 1080p. But
Yeah.
I could upgrade, but I choose
Yeah, for
not
out
to.
here, I have to pay for uncapped. They want to charge us. I mean, that's if you go over the terabyte of data, which
Terabyte of data.
I usually go over with just 3 kids all
Oh
streaming
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
So
That is a thing.
once they started introducing those data caps, all of a sudden data kept going up somehow. It's like, what?
Right, right.
I think one of the interesting gets that Stadia announced is that Sekiro is actually going to be coming to Stadia.
Yeah, my
Um,
game, man.
and
Can't wait.
and of course I was like, hey, that might actually get me to try the service. You do get a month free, so you can
Yep.
play a month of Stadia free, beat Sekiro if you can beat it in a month, and then if you don't like it, you can just leave. But I really do hope, because I do think cloud gaming is going to be how we're all playing in the future, right? It's just that's how it's going to go, because it's going to be more accessible to more people. Whether or not you're being able to play at 4K 120, that's a little bit different thing. But I do think they are at least getting the ball rolling, and I want them to succeed, because the more competition that there is in the space will only help everyone out. So, and it just seems like, as an outsider, someone that really hasn't jumped on the bandwagon, it just seems like they're not getting those titles that they really need to push the service like mainstream, right? Like my
Right.
biggest thing with watching the Connect was like, you spent a lot of time on a game like Bomberman. Like, is there not anything else that you have to like show to
Right,
the
right, right.
core group that's going to get us in there? I mean, Rick, what would you say is like the biggest strength of Stadia that should drive people to it?
Right. Oh, let me do a quick correction though.
Okay.
Like when Stadia is free, like when you sign up, that's giving you the Pro where you can do 4K and all that. But
Okay.
Sekiro, I'm assuming that might not be a pro game. So when you say you would play it for free, I just don't want
Yeah.
somebody to get confused. That I don't know if that would be a pro game. I doubt it would be. But
Oh,
if
I
it's
guess
They have a specific list of games that you can play for free
Yeah.
on the pro version.
I didn't even know. I just
Versus
assumed that.
you having to buy the game to be able to stream it and play it.
yeah,
Yeah, because it's not all that way. It's not that way for all the games. You'd have to buy it and stream it. That was some of like
Gotcha.
the confusing messaging when Stadia was first coming out. There was a lot of confusion about, you have to buy this game. Is it part of a subscription?
right,
What,
right. Is it Netflix?
Yeah.
I heard that a lot.
Well,
It's
and
not Netflix.
did they announce the price drop during the Connect for the Pro?
Oh
They
yes,
did, yes.
The Premier Edition.
For
Yeah,
the Premier Edition.
yeah, $100 instead of 130. So that was just a little correction because I know the people in the community would get me on that. They'll be like, "Why'd you make them say Sekiro's free?"
No, and that's a good correction, because like, as someone that has not been like tapped into it,
Right, right.
like,
Yeah,
I just assume that,
understandable.
okay, I will get the whole library free if I sign up for a month, because to me that's just kind of how it read during the Connect.
Right. There's
So
theories on that. Some people are like, the way we're getting so much pro games, because right now, if you sign up, it's like 20 games really to almost on pro, like right now today. So it's like maybe that's till they go, but I don't know. I don't know yet.
So SJ in
But
the chat, he's got a question. He says, "I wonder if
Yep.
Stadia will be able to survive after Xbox's announcement today."
I did see that
do you think?
announcement. I think it will, if especially if you're focused on visual fidelity, because the Xbox One S right now,
Mhm.
I just can't go back to 30 frames per second. I just can't go back.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
right
mean, he's talking about you heard about the inclusion of xCloud in their Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah, I do think people use it as an option, but I mean, if you try both, if you honestly do your due diligence and try both, I think you'll see the performance is better on Stadia side. But if there's a game there, I'll definitely check it out. But the games, the performance is it's just night and day with
I
other cloud gaming.
I definitely think if we go and talk about, I mean, we can jump to talking about Microsoft now, just real quick. Like, the
Yeah.
big get for xCloud gaming is that it is bundled with Game Pass, and Game Pass for $15 gives you access to over 100 games, all first gen or first party titles from Microsoft, day and date. So you're going to be able to play Halo Infinite on your phone. You're going to be able to play Gears. You're going to be able to play Playgrounds games. You're going to be able to play Rares games, and those are all going to be day and date. I think right there, that kind of has the advantage over Stadia, because as someone that does not know, and I will
Right.
completely admit that I just don't know what companies are developing for Stadia. I don't know what exclusive Stadia has. Like I don't know what is drawing me to that service right now. And it could very possibly be just because I just don't know. But the strength of paying, this is actually going to be the Netflix streaming service of games to your phone, right? This is going to be, hey, I'm out here, I'm standing in line, or I'm waiting for someone in line. I can pull up Halo Infinite, depending on, your connection, depending on what you're at. If you're on 3G, it's probably not going to be as fast as if you were on 5G,
Right.
and it's probably going to kill your data. But then again, if you're on a phone that size, you don't need it to be in, 1440p. You don't need, that high resolution
Right.
because you're just using it to play,
Mhm.
quickly. So that is a huge advantage that I think Google needs to either course correct or capitalize on because they have to be able to meet what they're doing. Because if they don't, then I don't know how they survive if they don't meet that because if I can play Halo Infinite for $15 and then I still have to buy Sekiro for $60 on Google, I mean that's kind of a hard ask in my opinion for Google.
Yeah, it is an uphill climb because Xbox has that mind share. But I think Google, they're looking further down the road. They didn't really announce like those major first party type games yet that you could say, okay, I'm gonna go to this platform for. So right now, I think they're just getting all the data, trying to see how it works. Because I mean, it works way better than it did months ago. It's really a live service. If you think about it, like a game like Destiny 2, it's not the same as what it was, 6 months ago. But I would say to compete with Xbox, the first thing it can compete, I would say, is just it's free. So that's the thing that I see them doing in their marketing, even on Twitter. They're telling people it is free. The 9.99 is if you want the pro. But yeah, if the thing is you buy a Sekiro for $60, but you can play it forever, there's no other fees than that. And there's deals for everyone too. So I would say it is gonna be an uphill climb, but I think when it's both things next to each other, I think Stadia definitely gives an option, and you can have both. That's I think they're not trying to go in your home and take all your consoles. Some people, I think, because we're coming out of the like Sony versus Microsoft, where it's like someone spent 500, someone spent 500, they have to kind of say, hey, this is my purchase is better. But when
Yeah.
something is free, I think it's like, hey, you know what? I tried it, it worked. If I want the premiere, it's $100. I don't think they're trying to undercut. I think they just want to live alongside, just like how they get their like products in your home, the Google products, your Nest. Just they have these small prices, but once it integrates with your phone, then instead of the iPhone, you're gonna get the Pixel. So I think it's just over time, and they have big plans for like India and emerging markets. So I think they're trying to make the big push, maybe like 10 years down the road. So for us as gamers, we want now, and a lot of even people in the Stadia community, they get impatient, especially over this news. I know there's a ton of podcasts about the Microsoft news and is this doomed, but I think they're playing the long ball. That's my
Yeah. And I think it definitely shows that Stadia will be a competitor because Phil Spencer like came out and said, "Hey, we're not competing against Nintendo and
right.
Sony. We're really going to compete against, things that Google and
And Amazon.
and Amazon are doing because he recognizes whether he's right or wrong. He just sees that more as where things are going, and that's where the competition is going to be. So like you said, this doesn't have to replace the boxes that you have in your house. It doesn't have to be a us versus you. It can just be, hey, this lives alongside here. So if I buy Sekiro on Stadia and I play it there, then that's just another option for me to have. So I definitely want to see more developers go to Stadia, and I definitely want to see like day and date. Like it would have been huge if Stadia got Cyberpunk day and date, right? There's going to be a little bit of a delay. Hopefully,
Hopefully it
they're still
corrects because
hopefully it does
everybody's
correct.
pushed back now. I'm hoping.
But also, if you don't have a beefy PC, if you're not running the best hardware, you can just play it on Stadia and you can get, one of the top experiences by playing
Right.
Cyberpunk there without having to put up, for the rig or for next generation consoles. So I definitely see like as we go forward and if Stadia can show off like, hey, this is how it looks when you play here and you don't have to buy this giant box, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's going to be a really big get for Stadia. So
Right.
I think it'll be super cool in the future, and I'm excited when more people enter that space. So, all right, is there anything else on Stadia? Anything that I missed? or should we move on from here and we can talk about all kinds of fun stuff?
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, because the Connect was not deep. It wasn't really thick in news, but I think they're gonna have another one honestly in September or
Yeah.
before.
Well, they
have to.
have how many internal studios? I think they have one or two that are
They
making
They
announced
have to.
they announced two at this Connect.
two more studios, or that they had two.
I think they announced two more, unless I am mistaken.
Yeah, no, they
'Cause
have
I
one
know
in
they had picked
Europe.
up a couple before.
Yes, they do. Well, I mean, not like have the studios, but I know they're working with Harmonix, Uppercut Games,
There you go. Those are the two
Supermassive
that they announced.
Games.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're working with those.
Yeah, Supermassive was a big one because Supermassive has normally just worked with Sony doing their horror games. So for them to be working with Google now was kind of surprising to me because I mean that's one of those studios that I think people automatically assume are just Sony first party studios because they do so much for them.
Right.
But for Stadia to get them, I think that's kind of a huge get for them to also diversify their library going forward is to get to Supermassive on board. So
Yeah. I mean, they got
right
EA.
on. Yeah.
EA, so
All
that's
right.
pretty good.
Right. All right, Mike. So I want you to dive in. Give us the lowdown on the Ubisoft Forward because Ubisoft had their big thing and they showed off a lot of stuff at the Ubisoft conference. So hit us with it.
So they did. So I was able to quote unquote attend. I attended the Ubisoft Forward, like probably lots and lots and lots and lots of other people did, with everything being digital nowadays. So my first interaction with Ubisoft was The Division. That was the first Ubisoft game that I played, and when we jumped into that, it had some really sweet systems, and I was kind of excited for it. But then for us and for us playing, it just got, I think, stale because it was right there. It was right there with Destiny, and we definitely chose Destiny over The Division when we chose to play games. There were some really cool systems though. I'm still a super huge fan of their weapon system and being able to mod stuff out. I think every game should have that ability because I really like that. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
well, we played a lot of Division when it first came out, and I think when it first came out, it was kind of rough. So I think we burned
Yeah.
out pretty quickly on it
Yeah.
because you're right. There's a lot of cool stuff in that game,
Mhm.
but I think we kind of
Their end
like
game
when you
wasn't ready, you know.
End
Yeah, it
game,
was
Yeah.
just
end game.
their crafting. It was, I think,
Dark Zone was rough place to
the
go.
Dark Zone was a rough.
They had
rough
rampant
place.
cheating, you
The
know,
Dark
both
Zone
on
was a
console
rough
and
place.
PC. So
Anyway, so the first thing that we saw when we were watching Ubisoft Forward was Watch Dogs, and it opened with this really cool movie-esque. I got a lot of Spider-Verse vibes when watching this. I think it's just because the art style and the way that it was done and shot, and some of the blocking and some of the camera tricks and things. So that's what I was thinking. I thought to myself, well, that's kind of weird. This reminds me of Spider-Verse. But anyway, so Watch Dogs comes out, and I was meh. It's not my genre. It's not my thing. I found it kind of odd considering the social status of the world nowadays. I thought it was kind of a weird title to be released right now. I don't know if I'm alone in that thinking, but for those who are into that Watchdog franchise, I mean, I'm sure that they were super duper excited, and there's some really cool things in the game that I thought were kind of cool. They talked about how every NPC that you meet can turn into a character that you can use, and everybody in the world has different abilities. So I thought, well, that could be kind of cool, to kind of do some subterfuge that way and some spy techniques and kind of things like that if that's how you chose to play. But I thought that was cool. So different things they were showing off, all their different systems and how characters can play a certain way. I always find it funny when they say that all characters play your way and you can do it however you want, and then they go like really deep into how this certain character plays. So you're like, oh, that's what that character does. Like it doesn't matter what I wanted to do with it. That's what that character does. I thought that was funny.
They
But
play
yeah,
your way as long as they fit in the parameters that they set up.
as long as the drone master is always a drone master, right? So
Yeah.
and I thought that's kind of cool or whatever, but I don't know. Any of you guys into Watch Dogs? Have you played? Have you interest or you?
I mean, I played the
is that
first
your
one.
thing?
It's kind of fun. The first one when you could go and hack people's stuff and take control of the things, and the multiplayer was kind of funny, doing things, as you're trying to go around, and it was a different experience at the time when it came out. It definitely suffered. The series suffered from a whole lot of downgrading. E3 used to be a time where you put out a trailer and then the game comes out and it doesn't look anything like that, and you're like, what happened to this game? So it definitely got hit pretty hard, and so hopefully a lot of people have learned from that if you're going to show a game, it should hopefully look like that actually comes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people, they're like, oh, it's a target, that's what we're shooting for. Things didn't work out, and but I mean, you can't blame them when the console hardware is 5 or 6 years old, when it even first comes out, it's this old tech, but at least these new consoles are going to be much more current. Yeah, I mean, it definitely looked a little interesting to me, but
Rick, are you a Watch Dogs fan?
I've played it at someone's house, but I've never owned it. But it is cool. I like the concept. But this new one, I'm not sure. Just you could play as an old lady. That doesn't really
it was really weird.
That's not like, oh yeah, let's go.
Choose your team. That's okay. I got this guy.
Power
Don't
fantasy
worry.
of playing as an old
I got my
lady.
walker.
Like a transformer though. It's like a transformer walker that's like. And then
I mean, I'll definitely play it though. I'm gonna give it a shot. I know it's coming out on Stadia. Ubisoft is
They're
like
putting a lot of their
best
titles on
friends
Stadia,
with
right?
Google. Yeah, they're like best friends.
And 2K.
2K, yeah, 2K games, yeah. So I will definitely give it a shot. I will.
Well, I have zero interest in Watch Dogs. Never have, never the
Whoa.
series doesn't appeal to me at all. Playing is I always laugh and be like, you can play as anyone in this game. And you're like, really? Do I want to play as anyone in this game? I don't know. It's just it has never appealed to me at all. So yeah,
I'm gonna get you a 1 month subscription to the Ubisoft
Right.
PC thing.
Get it
Then you
to
can
ya.
play all the games for 1 month and be like, I streamed it for 2 hours. It's not for me. All right,
I
15
will
bucks.
give it away to a listener.
And I won't let you do that.
That's
Sign it to you.
So one of the next things that Ubisoft did is they showed off, I believe it's called Brawlhalla, and it is a mobile game. Is it not? You
I
are
see what you did there, Mike. I
These
see what you,
names.
Mike,
No,
I'm just
it's
impressed.
called-
I'm
it's
just
called Brawlhalla,
It
right?
is though. Yeah, it is.
It's called Brawlhalla,
a
and it's a
mobile game,
mobile game that they have out. And you guys are getting ready to laugh. I thought this
Yeah.
one looked cool. I thought, okay, I mean, sitting in a waiting
I thought it
room-
looked cool until they're like mobile, and I was like, yep. I might.
Did you think it was going to be something other than mobile?
I figured it was gonna be like on
Brawl-
console
Brawl.
or something.
No, everybody's putting their.
I mean,
tone
obviously there's a
into it.
huge market in mobile, right? I mean, that's
Well, yeah.
Wait
and
a second.
so-
You guys are talking about Brawlhalla. That game is already out. That's not a Ubisoft game.
No, it is.
It is.
Is it really?
It is. It is Ubisoft.
Is it in Blue Mammoth Games?
Did you watch
that
the
game is on
conference,
Xbox. No, I didn't
Did
watch
you-
the conference
did
because
you
I'm
watch
uninterested in
their
Ubisoft.
Steve?
See, I was
stuff.
like pretty sure that was coming to console. I was like,
Brawlhalla is
No.
already on console. My kids have played this game.
Okay, so then it's coming to mobile then. If
is
it's
that
already
the
on console,
is that the one with like the
coming to
birds and
mobile.
stuff? Let me look at it again.
No, this is so
it's like a Smash Brothers style game.
It is. It's a free to play platform fighter where the greatest warriors in history brawl to prove who is the best that ever was or will be. Available now for Steam, PS4, Xbox. Oh, okay. So available now on console, coming to iOS and Android in August. Okay. So that was the part that I missed. This one looked fun, right? I might check it out now that
But
I
they
know
showed
it's
it off on
already-
mobile though, right? Like
They
that's
showed
what they
it off on
highlighted.
mobile.
So that's why I was like, nah, I thought this was coming to console. What the crap?
Yeah, it already is on
It-
console. So there you go.
it-
Go play it.
And it's actually a pretty fun game. I mean, it's Smash Brothers. Like the art style is it looks hand drawn. Like my kids had fun playing it. Like it's not like a terrible looking game. Like cool, I guess. I don't know.
So coming to mobile, I might pick it up. Something I can play during,
You're
during
not going to
breaks
play
in
this on
between-
mobile.
You could just play
I
Stadia on your phone or
I
xCloud,
might.
right? What
You
do you-
sure you could.
I could do all that.
It'll
Or you
just
can
like
play
kill your
solitaire.
battery really quick.
or I can play solitaire. All right.
And we
so
know
the next
Mike will
thing-
choose solitaire.
I will
yeah,
choose
he'll
solitaire.
choose
So the
solitaire
next
over
one-
talking to us
The
during the
next one that
podcast.
they debuted, yeah, I'm talking. The next one they debuted was one that we had talked about a week previous, the one that Steve kept screwing up the name. And because of the name screw up last week, I don't know if this is right or not. So it's Hyper S something.
Hyperscape.
Right? It's either Scape or Space.
Hyperskate. Hyperskate would be a cool game. They should
Hyperskate.
make Hyperskate. Yeah.
Tony Hawk's Hyperskate.
That's what they should do. Tony Hawk Hyperskate 4.
Right? So Hyperscape is coming out. It's another battle royale arena.
It's in beta now, right? That's their big
it's
announcement.
open beta on PC.
Yep. This one, I mean, I think of Apex, I think of Battle Royale, I think of Fortnite, and I'm like, okay, different skin. They say it's going to be new and different because of the things that are going to happen, but really, how different can they be, right?
So one of the things they're doing, which I think they're going a little too over the top with this, is like if you wanted access to the technical alpha, you had to watch streamers, which I mean is a good way to kind of show it off initially. To get into the technical alpha, you have to watch for like 20 minutes and you get a code, right? So now they're like, oh, they said console players, it's coming out later this summer in a beta. If you want access to the beta, you need to watch people playing it on Twitch, connect your account, so then we'll give you access on console, the beta. It's like, are you just getting a little heavy-handed on the making me watch these guys multiple times? It's like, if I've already gone in and done that once, just give me access to it again. Yeah. Or, I don't know. It just seems like they're going a little too heavy on the, we really want you to watch people playing this game right now. But, I mean, the whole point is for people to watch and influence the game as you're playing, right? So, I mean, that's the whole point with the Twitch integration where your community is going to, everybody that's playing in that game, their communities that are watching them, they will vote, and whatever majority wins, that's what influences the game while you're playing.
Which I thought was kind of a cool thing, right? Meteor shower, everybody votes for that, and there's a meteor shower, everybody has to do it. So one of the things that this game really focused on was the customization aspect, right? That I don't think was in Apex to the extent that this one is, where you can go through and customize, jerseys and hats and shirts and hair and eyes and all that kind of stuff, which is cool for some people. I mean, we thought that was going to be a pretty big thing when we were playing Anthem, and it turned out that, you get to customize stuff, but then you stick with one look. Once you find that look, you're like, okay, this is it until, something else happens or I get bored, right? Because I'd rather be in playing. So for those people who Steve likes to say, customize their digital doll, there's going to be a great way for them to do it. They're going to have all the options available, different packs and skin packs and things that you can get. And I don't recall if they said you're going to be able to buy stuff or if it was all going to be free, but
I'm sure it costs money.
Exactly, right.
Before we move off to customization, so we know with the new Star Wars Squadrons that's coming out later this year, right? Nothing to do with Ubisoft, but they allow you to turn off so you don't see people's customizations.
What?
Yeah, that's one of your options. You can turn it off so you don't see anybody's customization, so you get the pure Star Wars experience. Right?
What? No, that can't be a thing. That's really a thing?
It's a thing. No, it's
how can that?
It's 100%
how can
a
that
thing.
be a thing?
No,
it's if I spend the time in the game completing all of these challenges, and you can just turn it off,
so that they do not see it. You still,
that sucks.
Obviously you can't see the outside of your ship, but
so no one's gonna. You have to see that I am as amazing as I am because I did all the challenges. So if I have a red TIE fighter, an Imperial interceptor, you better be able to see that so that you know how good I am. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, no. See, that's what I thought was strange, right? I was like, what? I guess they're giving people the option, right? So they're at least giving people the option because they know it's Star Wars, and there's a lot of purists that only want to see it the way it's supposed to be shown. They don't want to see a kitty cat on the outside of a starfighter.
Okay, that level of Star Wars fandom, like, I'm sorry, but if you get mad that I have a different paint job on my super boring gray TIE interceptor, like if that makes you mad and upset, then please go play in some private server away from normal human beings that just want to have fun with a video game.
See, and this is what I was wanting to know. I was like, we hadn't mentioned it ever in any of our text conversations. So I'm like, I don't think that they know about this yet. So I should bring this up.
So you're gonna drop it here, drop it now, so Steve can get all red in the face.
No,
and,
it's just
furiously
like
type on
you
his
reminded me
keyboard.
when you were talking about customization. It's like, oh yeah, I was going to bring that up. Now's the perfect time. All right,
That's
so
funny.
Rick, what do you think about the customization? Do you think it's good that they can't see it, or something you would like to use?
I don't know about that game, but that concept of if you can't see it, I guess if someone's offended out there and they need to do that option.
I mean, like we talked about Anthem. What if, they could show it where it's just a base javelin? They can't
Just
see
your
how
stock
what you
javelin.
look like. Is that something
No.
you would like to see?
No way.
No way.
That's the
Man,
whole point. You want to be
Put
like,
that
oh, this
concept
guy
in
has
Destiny.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why I
Oh,
don't
no
get
way.
why they're doing it. I mean, the only thing that I could think of was because of purists for Star Wars. Like, why else would
Oh.
you have 100 things to unlock and not show them to everybody that you've unlocked these?
that.
Why
Yeah.
would you even
like
put
at
that
the
option
heart of
in
that,
there?
Devin, that's not even like Star Wars purist. That's like
Zealots?
Star Wars. Yeah, that's like a different. That's like an offshoot, because like, man,
It's
that's
just weird,
interesting.
right?
My brain is
It's
broken
weird.
that they would.
When you have games that focus on customization as the only things you get for leveling up, and then they allow you to turn it off so you don't ever see that people are.
You don't ever see
Customized.
anybody else's. So I wonder if that player then goes through the process of customizing, or just leaves everything.
That would be
stock.
hilarious. They're like, I don't want to see
Yeah.
anybody else's customization, but look at me.
But look at mine, right?
Yeah, that's the
That's
true end
weird.
game. The true end game is how you look.
Right?
For me, for
Right?
me, when I play games, I've got to look the best, and they show like, hey, I was in a raid for 8 hours. Look at my emblem.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's part of
I
like,
would
hey,
never
look,
turn that off.
look what this person did. They've gone through this. They've played it. It's just like we were talking about in Halo, where you can see their rank based upon how much they've played. You're like, all right, this person has played a lot. Because if you look through their customizations, you have to unlock all the stuff for those ships, and it's like, oh, they have that one that you can only lock at level 100. Crap. I probably don't. I'm as a brand new player, that would be not a good thing. But
Well, because that's the quickest on-screen way to do it, right? And
Yeah.
versus going in, inspecting a player, what do they have? Friend you, let me see your profile. It's just the quickest. Okay, they have that piece of armor from that event. I need to know that I'm going to get wrecked. Anyway, so moving on. I love it how
before you move on, this is not about Star Wars because whatever. It was not a game. It was a game I was supposed to be super interested in, but once you're like, hey, it's only first person, and now people can just turn off the awesome things that I have. I'm even less interested in now. So going back to talking about Hyperscape, with the Twitch integration, I had this thought where people can affect the outcome of a game. Eventually Stadia was talking about being able to watch someone play a game. You click a link and now you're in their game.
Mhm.
Do you think there will eventually be games that are so Twitch integration focused that there will be professional Twitch watchers for games?
yeah, I think
Dude, you
so.
just
That
went,
would be a
That's the
you
whole
just went,
thing is
two
to
levels deep, man.
influence the
you're
game a specific
twist-
way, or you're paid to watch to influence the games this way. We want the game to go this direction, so we have so many people on the
perception,
payroll to
man.
influence the game. No, I mean, but no, I think being able to jump into the game is kind of unrealistic because when you're watching them play the game, there's already people that are loaded into that game, and the only way you're going to get loaded into that game is if somebody leaves that game, right? So I don't think it's a novel and great idea, but even
it would have to be a specific game built for that feature.
yeah, well,
It
with
would
Battlefield, they have that feature where you can enter a queue, and so if people back out and leave, you can join your friends in progress, or you can join their game that's in progress. There's
But
obviously
that's
join in
different than
progress
being able
games.
that's different from being able to influence the game.
Yeah,
and
but
the
he
outcome
was just
and
talking
how it's gonna work.
being able to click on it and join their game. That was one area that I was focusing on. What he is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I just I don't think that that's very realistic to be able to click on it and join their game. That specific. I think it's perfectly fine to be able to click on it and start playing that game. I mean, you can already do that with Stadia, that process. But I don't know.
Yeah. That was just a thought that I had, that
yeah.
eventually there will be people that professionally watch Twitch streams in order to influence games. And then it's like this weird meta, video game thing that, you're a professional Twitch watcher, and then people will know you, and they're like, hey, there's that professional Twitch watcher in this person's stream. Let's see how they affect it. Anyway, that was just like some weird,
No, and that's because that seems like that's where we're going, man. We're right. So we started with Twitch, people streaming their own personal experiences. Now people are influencing those experiences, and now we're gonna build the game where you play and you are then affected by someone else, and so you become, as the player, you become the person being affected. See how are you gonna react, and then you got all these levels back and wow.
Different Inception.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Let's continue on with Ubisoft, because so far I'm like 0 for 0 for Ubisoft here.
I love how conferences go, and the head of the studio gets up and is like, "We were so awesome, and it was so great to show you all this cool stuff, and we love seeing you, but we've got one more thing to show you, right?" Like they try to do
one
that
more
and,
thing.
like, exactly. And I'm like, okay, that may have worked like 10 years ago, but we know what's coming, right? Right.
Just show us the thing.
Exactly. So the big drop is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Dun, dun,
not Assassin's Creed Brawlhalla?
Not Brawlhalla. Valhalla, right? Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Assassin's Creed fans out there, you guys played the franchise, you into it, you know all the things. Rick, you're saying, yeah, you know it.
Yeah.
You were excited for this one, weren't you?
Yeah, I've been following this for a long time, seeing where they're going. I can't wait to play this one. This one's gonna be day and date. I'm playing Odyssey right now. I'm never finished. It's too much to do in that game.
There's so much.
But I heard they downsized Valhalla. It's not too much fluff.
They said there's hardly any side missions.
Oh, good. Please, I like the story.
I think they said there weren't side missions, but there is, because they don't want him to be like, you're this invader and you're going to this village to do a side missions, but there will be things that you do on the side.
Yeah.
So I think it was just, they're still side missions, but they're just not calling them side missions because that would be weird.
Right. There's this whole mechanic of like building up your settlement, building up your village, getting that reputation kind of thing. And then again, using all the different kind of like watchdog-esque tactics where you can either go in and blow everybody up, or you can be in there and be the assassin type and kind of, politics and kind of influence that way. So again, different way to play for different people. I personally have never done an Assassin's Creed. I've wanted to try. I had my hands on a Black Flag edition. Tried getting into that. It was pretty early in my gaming days, so I didn't really focus in too hard. I understand the world is huge. I understand it's big, the different iterations and it'll be interesting, and it'd be fun to kind of start at the beginning and see how all things tie together kind of thing. I like Vikings. Vikings are cool. So I thought this one was interesting. It seemed pretty straightforward, right? We're leaving our home. We're going to colonize somewhere else. We're going to take that true Viking kind of story-esque thing and see how we assimilate into this new country and culture. So there it is. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, releasing November 17th for current gen consoles. So, and that was my experience with Ubisoft Forward. I was a little bit, I was talking to the guys, after watching that it doesn't seem like a whole lot of the Ubisoft titles are for me. It's not really what I am like really, really drawn to. I'd like to give them a try and a shout and a test to see how they do, but lots of blood, lots of gore. I'm not super into that. But we'll have to check it out and see what it does and see. I'm kind of excited for the Assassin's Creed though.
So the last time I played an Assassin's Creed game to full, because I own Odyssey, I own Origins, but I really, really got into Brotherhood. I really enjoyed the multiplayer of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. That was a lot of fun. It was a very interesting, like, hey, you got to sneak around and kill the other assassins. So that multiplayer was really cool. And they just haven't really done multiplayer. Like, of all the Ubisoft titles, like, Assassin's Creed is the one I am most interested in, just because, like, they make super big open world massive games that are going to take hundreds and hundreds of hours to play. And like it's hard to like say, hey, I'm going to do that at this time, because it is a huge time commitment, especially when it's coming out in November, when it seems like everything's going to be coming out in November. But I think I will play Valhalla. It probably won't be right at launch, but I will definitely put it on my backlog to get to eventually. But I mean, like Ubisoft makes really good trailers. I mean, that Assassin's Creed Valhalla trailer is super impressive. It's interesting, but again, it's like you said, Mike. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be for everyone, and it doesn't have to be like, hey, because I don't like this, it shouldn't be. But I don't know. Assassin's Creed is Assassin's Creed. I would be. I haven't been really following the series in a really long time, so. But it sounds like Rick, you're super excited for it. Devin, are you super excited for it?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm getting it day one. I already pre-ordered it.
I'll take your extra
copy. Yeah.
Devin is having a serious conversation with Phaedron in the chat. So Devin is a little.
So yeah, I'm having this conversation, right? Phaedron's talking about
way up on the mic.
Yeah, he's talking about I have to buy an Xbox. Same time, he's saying he doesn't have to buy anything, right? Which is total BS. If he's playing on his phone, you have to buy your phone, Phaedron. So let's go ahead and cut that out. You don't have to buy it. It costs you money to buy your phone. Costs you money to buy your computer. So you still have to pay for entrance, irregardless.
Oh, right. So we talked about Microsoft already. We'll let Devin and Phaedron have that battle somewhere else. You can take it to the Discord, or Phaedron says he got his phone for free. Nice.
Then it must be a piece of crap.
This. Anyway, you're distracting me now. So this is something that I wanted to talk about because this is something that is near and dear to my heart. So Konami announced that their legendary Gradius titles are going to come to Nintendo Switch. Gradius is a game that we grew up with, playing side-scrolling. These I guess you can call them a shoot 'em up. They're side-scrolling spaceship games where you just go across the level, shooting a bunch of aliens, dying a bunch because these games were made for you to die a lot. And Gradius is just something that's always been like near and dear to our heart. We played Gradius, we played Darius, we played Phalanx, and those games were just some of those games you would just always go down and rent. You'd play them for the weekend. I think our parents bought us one of the games for Easter one time and surprised us with it, which was super cool. Just one of those memories that I have in the back of my mind of, playing Nintendo games, and Darius and Gradius were some of those games were always on the backlog. So it's coming to Switch. And if I had a Switch, I'd buy it there. This is a game that is on the Nintendo Classic. I believe it's on the Nintendo Classic. If it's not on there originally, I definitely put it on there in not so legal ways. So
it is because the boys and I played it when we went through our SNES stint there, and we played Gradius and Darius. Darius definitely has a nautical feel to it. Lots of fish.
Yes, it does.
Lots of fish.
It's all fish based, so
yeah.
So this is just kind of cool. This isn't like huge groundbreaking news that's like setting the internet on fire. This is just important news to me because it's one of those core memories. All right, the next thing, I don't know if you guys saw this. Are you guys into Legos at all? Do we have Lego fans in the house?
Legos?
Yeah.
Lego, not Egos, Devin. Legos.
I know. I said
not
Legos or
Lego.
Mega Constructs.
Mega Constructs do not come anywhere close to the quality of Legos. So
yeah, they suck.
But hey, Devin.
Lego is the one who was like, we can't have guns. Now they're like, we must have guns because that stuff's selling everywhere else.
Legos.
That
man,
is true.
If you're breathing, you like Legos, right?
Yeah, right. Legos are good.
Nintendo is bringing their stuff over to Legos, and they are making
that's
Lego
garbage.
Nintendo Entertainment System. Did you just say it was garbage?
It's like $200 something for that.
You're gonna buy like 3 of them.
I'm not gonna buy
it because he's not a Nintendo fanboy. So this thing is
Phaedron won't buy it either.
System made out of Legos. Like if you keep talking about Phaedron and you keep getting distracted, Devin, I will turn this stream around and we will go home. Devin is got chat riled up, right? So Devin, Phaedron, you're a jerk, Phaedron. Phaedron says Nintendo's better than Xbox Legos and it's better than Mega Construct. Wow. Okay, Phaedron.
I hope Microsoft buys Nintendo and shuts them down. All right, Phaedron.
Yeah, because that's what'll happen. No, they'll just make more money. Let's time out Phaedron. I think we can right click on Phaedron and time him out for a couple of seconds. So Nintendo's teaming up with Lego. They're coming out with a bunch of cool different things. I actually think this looks like a cool piece that you could put on like a bookshelf or on a desk, because it comes with like, you build this little TV and it has like this rotating screen and Mario will go up and down and on these things. I think it's actually pretty clever like design for Legos, because normally it's just like there's a lot of moving parts on this. So I actually think it's cool. Why did I think it was cool that you guys would be excited about it? I don't know. Apparently like everyone hates on Legos now because Lego doesn't own the Halo IP, or they're not doing that, but I
This
think
thing
it's
is
pretty
No, I
super
think it's fine.
cool,
It's just like ridiculously expensive. Same thing for the Mega Blocks. Like if you wanted to buy to build that Infinite, the spaceship, it's like $180. It's like, oh my gosh, that is so much for Legos.
But seriously, Legos are like super expensive.
Yeah.
Like as an adult, now that I'm realizing like why my parents didn't buy me the Lego sets that I wanted, like and now I know why, because Legos are expensive, man. But this is
and granted, Legos back in our days were like terrible and they were super blocky, and we have this image in our mind that they were super cool, but they were just like, hey, here's a bunch of squares put together, and now it's a spaceship.
Legos have always been cool.
Now-
It's the Mega Blocks that have sucked.
So I like, stupid story, right? So we actually I
Time
found
out,
an
Mike
email with-
here.
Yes, time out. I actually got an email where like Lego has these like the super expensive Death Star set and the super expensive Millennium Falcon set. We got an email saying, hey, these are on sale. These are like $40. And I'm like, $40? What are you talking about, $40? The Millennium Falcon is like a $700 set. And they're like, yeah, it's on sale. So we like went through, did a bunch of research, and there's like people saying, yeah, this is great. This is great. Like did more deep research, and like finally found like the embedded code on the website, like totally a scam. And hopefully people don't fall for like buying this Lego set for $40, because it was like, it almost got me, because it's like
What
one
are
of those
they-
things that like, if it's
Well,
too
then
good
what
to
are
be
they
true,
buying for $40?
I don't know. They're probably not buying anything. They're just giving their money and their credit card information for $40. That's probably what's happening. So, luckily, I did not do it.
Sounds like something Mega Blocks would do.
That is something Mega Blocks would do. We're gonna move on. So,
Oh,
and I need to get your guys' opinions on this, because we've been talking for like, Chad has got Devin so distracted. I don't even know if Devin is like in the same building. All right. So there's a beta for Marvels Avengers that starts next month. This comes from IGN, has their monthly roundup or whatever they're calling it for around Marvels Avengers. So this is as revealed by IGN. Players who pre-order the game on PlayStation will have the first access.
Steve,
to the
you gotta
beta.
stop, man. Nobody's listening. Like there's shenanigans going on.
What do you mean no
Devin
one's
is-
listening? I don't understand what's happening. Like,
Yeah.
we've got a show to produce, and like, I will time out Devin if we have to time out Devin. All right,
We have
so where was I?
devolved. Episode 131 has devolved. All right,
we already
Steve.
talked about Devolver Digital. We already talked about them. So as revealed by IGN, players who pre-order the game on PlayStation will have the first access to the beta starting August 7th. Xbox and PC pre-order beta access comes a week after that on August 14th. So this is the thing that Devin always loves, is that PlayStation is going to get the beta a week early. And then finally on August 21st, the open beta will be made available on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. So that's going to be happening.
What's this
I
game
think
for?
I'm actually This is for the Avengers game, Devin.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I
So-
saw that. Yeah, I was just like, I mean, they have the marketing.
I'm glad you saw it, Devin.
I mean, it's fully expected, from PlayStation. They more than happy to buy years of exclusive content and keep it from other people because they're for the players. As long as you're in their ecosystem, they are for the players.
Well, this is actually an opportunity for me to try this out, because I'm actually not at all excited for it, just because I don't think, from what we've heard, that loop of going back to your base and then going out on a mission and doing that repeatedly isn't that exciting to me. And then this will even tie into some of the Godfall information that we have. But at least I'll be able to try it. Well, I guess I have to pre-order though.
No, that's only to get the early access, right? Or because that's the first 2 weekends, and the open ones at the very end, right? So
I'll just wait for the open beta.
Really, by the open beta, they should have figured out all their connection issues that they're going to have, anyways. So unless they did their job right.
You remember that Anthem Alpha that we had? Like the first Anthem Alpha? I think I remember, Devin, you had like 24 hours of not being able to get in. Is that what happened?
This is a bad time. Yeah, I could. Yeah, it was a bad time.
So this is happening. So for everyone that's excited for Marvel's Avengers, the betas are coming up. You'll be able to get hands-on, and hopefully they have everything worked out and you'll be able to test that. So, and then speaking of, I guess we'll just dive into Godfall. So we did get a little bit of Godfall information from Keith Lee, who's the director of Godfall. They went over on GameSpot and they started talking about the game. One of the interesting things about the game when it first came out, they talked about skill-based combat. And I think when people heard skill-based combat, we all assumed it was going to be very much like Dark Souls. Because to me, that's when you say skill-based combat, like Dark Souls comes to mind, because those are super punishing games. You have to be on your game in order to defeat those bosses, unless you have someone going with you like I did to help me out, so I didn't spend hundreds and hundreds of hours banging my head against the wall in that game. So they came out and said that, hey, this is not really going to be so much like a Souls game, because Souls games is very defensive. In Godfall, they want you to feel like you're always on the offensive. They want you to be attacking. They want you to be moving forward. So it's going to be more like God of War, more Devil May Cry, and they are still talking about it being very Monster Hunter focused. So I think they're really like trying to set the expectations correctly that this is not a Souls game, but this is going to be an action game. Because in a lot of the videos, they're cut so quickly and there's so much action that you never really got to see like, okay, so what is the skill of the game if I can just go through and button mash my way through this encounter? So unfortunately, we still haven't seen that yet, but we did get some information that there is going to be a hub world. There is going to be a main campaign, but you are going to be coming back to the hub world and leaving on hunts in order to go track down bosses. And I think that's probably going to be one of the loops. So it does sound very Avengers similar, of you're going to be going out, you're going to be coming back to these hub worlds. So I actually don't know how I feel about that, because I'm really excited for Godfall because the aesthetic of the game looks really cool, but I don't know if I'm excited about that loop, because I'm not excited about the Avengers loop. So I don't know how I can say I'm excited about the Godfall loop, but not excited about the Avengers loop, because it seems like it's going to be similar. Rick, are you excited about Godfall? Is that something that's on your radar?
Yeah, it is definitely. I know it's for what the Sony, and then it's for PC.
For
It's
the
going to
Epic
be
Game
on
Store.
Epic Game Store, yeah.
Oh, Epic Game. Yeah, so I'm like, ugh, I don't know. I have a Mac right now, but something like that. If it's really good, I'm tempted to just get a PC for it. But yeah, I know what you mean with the combat loop. Games like that, I hope that they have simple things like a mount, like just little things like that make your game just more alive, and you just feel more attached to it. Even why Destiny's still around, you throw on you have your Ghost, you have your Speeder. That's why Division I kind of got out, because I'm like, you're just running around all the time. It makes the loop even more boring. So I hope that they don't forget to add those type of features. But I'm definitely intrigued. A game with no guns, a melee combat type of MMO, or I guess a looter MMO with weapons, melee weapons. It's a must interest, if that makes sense. It's something you have to be interested in. But I will see. I'll definitely play it. Not day one, but if a neighbor has it, I'll definitely be playing
Yeah.
it.
How long do you think their exclusive period will be, Steven? What do you think? A year?
Which exclusive? Do you think that
For
eventually it's
PlayStation
gonna
and the
come to
Epic Game
Xbox?
Store.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, it's on PlayStation and Epic Game Store, and those are obviously both purchased. But
Yeah. I actually don't know, Devin. Like, there hasn't been any talk about it being a timed exclusive. I don't know, but also I can't imagine that it
because
would
the
stay
Sony
exclusive
Ninjas will cut
forever.
you.
I mean, the Sony Ninjas might cut your throat. They'll do that with a Lego
Don't you talk about another
razor blade.
console?
So I don't know. I haven't even thought about it coming to other places, just because it's like there's been no discourse around timed exclusivity or anything like that. I mean, maybe it just stays exclusive to Sony. Maybe it just stays exclusive to.
I mean, they have a larger reach, obviously, with the Epic Game Store, with 60 million people use the Epic Game Store now, or at least it's been downloaded that many times. But whereas like PlayStation 5 will be 5 to 10 million, possibly, and then
Maybe
more over the
if
first
they hit
year.
their limit.
Yeah, if they actually produce that and they work.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I would imagine like either they got paid a lot of money just to keep it exclusive, or if they didn't, they would want it to be as many places as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they would have loved if it came out on the PlayStation 4 because of the install base that the PlayStation 4 has. But it's going to be pretty hard, especially now with the coronavirus and how things are going with production wise. Like, how many units are they going to even move on the PlayStation 5 at launch? Because we don't even know when it's going to launch. I mean, we've been told that it is going to launch this season, but I mean, there's no definitive answer on that other than they say it is.
Get
But,
a
I mean,
hands
that
on
could
with the
change at any
controller
time.
tomorrow.
I mean, we will see the controller tomorrow, but yeah, I mean, what was that? So it will be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see, like, you know, I'm excited for the game. I want to see more. They haven't shown off a ton, and considering we're already in July and we're, you know, maybe a couple months away from the launch of these consoles, and this is going to be a launch title, so we're just kind of waiting, I think, on Sony to announce when this is coming out. So
Do you
that
think
we
it's
can
coming
know that we're
out day
getting
of
Godfall.
launch or within the launch period?
It's a launch title, so I mean they've always said it's going to be a launch title for PlayStation 5. So it
What
hasn't
about
said
on
anything
PC?
about launch window. Well, it's going to come out at the same time, so that's why we haven't got a date for either, because we're waiting for Sony to say, hey, this is when it's coming out. So look more into Godfall, because that's going to be pretty interesting. 12 Valor plates to roll around in. There's a lot of information. Yeah. If you want
14
more info,
is that other game.
14 is, I don't know what game you're talking about.
No, it's not 14. The one that they just had the beta for, Mortal Shell. I was thinking of different.
Nope. Yeah, that's only 4. Yeah, so if you want more info on Godfall, just go over to the YouTube channel, Godfall 101. That's where I'm making content over there. You can check that out. So, cool. All right, Devin, you wanted to talk about anything else? Or I mean, we have some other small news, like Tom Holland is on set recording for the Uncharted movie finally, and it's been like 13 years of hearing about an Uncharted film.
I thought Sony confirmed that they were in pre-production, but they're not in production yet. Because IGN reported that they were in production, but then they released another tweet later that said that Sony contacted them and said they're in pre-production. There's not currently production going.
And why is Tom Holland, you know, on Instagram putting out a
I don't
picture
know.
of his chair?
It's Sony, right? You can't trust them. Trust them. Corporations.
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, you can't trust those corporations. Xbox ambassador Devin.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're out for the money. That's what it's all about. So
anyway,
that's what a business is, right?
I mean, a lot of people. This is a movie has had multiple directors, multiple writers, multiple leads. I think, who's the guy from Transformers? He just came out with that Spencer Confidential. What's his name?
Wahlberg?
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, Wahlberg. So Wahlberg was slated to play as Nathan Drake, and then it's been 14 years, so now he's going to play Nathan Drake, like older sibling or something, his mentor figure. So that's how long this movie has been in production. That the main character has gotten too old to play the main character, so he's going to play the not main character. So I guess that's cool. And the only other news that there's to talk about is like Henry Cavill's making a PC, and the internet's losing its mind. That a celebrity is making a PC, and all of a sudden this is like the biggest news ever, and people have to write. It's like, okay, like, I mean, he's human. Like, did we not expect him to ever put together a PC? I don't know why people are losing their minds about it. Maybe that's just
he's like talked about that multiple times in interviews, like that he built his own. Maybe that's why he built it, because he's like, oh my God, people don't believe me that I build my own PC.
Well, I think it's because he has to get something to get his mustache removed, right?
His money to remove his mustache.
No, I'm thinking the wrong dude. Sorry, I'm thinking the wrong.
That's
Superman.
Henry Cavill.
That's Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Henry Cavill, he tells a story that he almost missed the casting call for Superman because he was raiding in World of Warcraft. So that like he was raiding, he got the call, and I don't remember how the story goes because I'm like, okay, he's a celebrity, he can play video games too. I don't know why this is like the biggest thing ever. I guess maybe if I was like, you know, if someone else was jacked and like was famous and they were doing something, people would lose their mind. I don't know. The internet's weird. I guess it's at least something positive to get excited about. So I don't know. Yeah, and that's how we'll end the show. Thanks for coming to our Henry Cavill hour, talking about Henry Cavill making PC.
Next week's gonna be a good week, right? So
next week we have the Microsoft show. That's going to be exciting. I thought it was this week. It feels like we've been waiting on that show for forever since the PlayStation show. So, Rick, thanks for hanging out with us. We really appreciate you coming and telling us about Stadia, getting the hype going for Stadia. Would you like to tell our listeners where you can be found, where they can follow you and your show?
Yeah, right now I'm on Anchor, but it ports me out to a lot of other sites. I think I'm on iTunes. I'm definitely on Spotify, but definitely check me out on Anchor. Just look for Rick Tone or the Stadia Hour podcast. And I'm on Twitter, Rick Tone. Any questions? I don't mind. Troubleshooting too.
Yep. So everyone go check out go follow him on Twitter. Go check out those podcasts and get excited. I know Phaedron is a huge Stadia fan. He says
nice.
good to hear. He says good to hear from you, Rick. So yeah,
Cool.
Phaedron loves Stadia. Yeah. So that's
Awesome.
Rick Tone. That's the Stadia Hour, or you can follow him on Twitter. So he's linked on the tweet that we sent out for the show if you want to find him that way.
Yeah.
All right. So everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Honestly,
a lot of fun.
chat, Phaedron distracting Devin and making him like super upset about everything. KDT, thanks for hanging out. SJ, again, everyone
not
that's
upset.
lurking in the chat,
Hey.
thank you so much for hanging out. And until next time, guys, I again lost the new outro that Mike made. So Devin's gonna stall for me.
Yeah, so exciting. Who's excited to see the hands-on with the PlayStation DualSense tomorrow? I think they had to do this show because people were showing those images and making the controllers look larger than they really were. So they're like, all right, we need to get this out there and show them the actual size of this controller, because we have nothing else to talk about. No. No, I think it'll be interesting. I don't know how they're going to do a full half-hour
Thank
show
you for
about
listening
it.
to the Freelancer
No,
Codex,
thank you for
a
listening.
podcast brought to you
I'm
by
just going
the
to keep
Shut Up and
talking over
Respawn
this
Network.
whole. No, just kidding.
Follow us at Freelancer Codex on Twitter.
Have a
or
great
Twitch.
night,
Send
everybody.
emails to freelancercodex
Thanks for listening to the podcast. You're the best.
Or voice messages to
You're the worst, Devin.
anchor.fm/freelancercodex/message.
He's just
We wish
going to edit
thank
it out
all of our
anyways.
Patreons. We are grateful for you all.
And it's
Thank
repeating.
you for listening to the Freelancer Codex.
It's the same every week. What are you
Every
talking
time,
about?
man. Every
Thanks for
time.
watching stream. We'll catch you later.